everyone, so I'm back with another video, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how I achieve an extremely matte oil-proof flawless makeup application. And of course, I always say specifically for acne and oily prone skin, because as you all can see, that is like my skin type. I have a very severe acne prone and also oily skin. So let's go ahead and get started. Of course, I'm rocking my natural hair today, but towards the end of this video, I'm going to switch to this gorgeous wig from Klaiyi hair. I actually received this wig as, I believe, 26 inches, but at the end of the day, I just decided to, cut it, and it was black when I received it, but then I dyed it into gold. So you guys, I'm going to be switching to this look by the time we're done with today's tutorial. So the very first thing I would always advise, like from my last video, a lot of people complained because of the fact that I said I apply my primer with a brush. And you guys, I've tried this out so many times, especially when you're working with a mattifying primer. Most times when you use a mattifying primer and then you use your fingers to rub it in, you would always notice that they produce kind of a white residue. But then I noticed ever since I started using a brush to apply my primer, like I don't have that problem, and I always wash my brush whenever I use them. When it comes to having an oily skin, one thing you want to always make sure to apply is a mattifying primer. I always come in contact with people who have a severe oily skin, and when they keep complaining, all I ask them is, do you use a primer? And then sometimes they say yes, and then I'm like, what kind of primer do you use? Because we have different types of primers out there. We have hydrating, we have luminous primer, we have all kinds of primer. But please, if you have an oily skin, try as much as possible to stick with a mattifying primer. A mattifying primer is your best friend if you have an oily skin. So when it comes to that, I love my Makeup Forever Step 1 Skin Equalizer, my E.Y.E.B.R.O.W Matte Poreless Priming Perfector, and then when it comes to drugstore, I live for this primer right here, the Rimmel Stay Matte Primer. So please try as much as possible to invest in a very good primer, because that is going to act as a base first before any other thing on your face. So for today's video, I'm going to go in with my Makeup Forever Step 1 Skin Equalizer, and I'm just going to apply it mostly on the areas where I normally would produce oil, and for me it's always the center of my face. So I try to concentrate my primer on those areas, and then when I blend it out, I try to just spread it all over my face. I'm using Beauty Crush brush in BC111 Essential Tapered Foundation brush. This is just perfect to, layer and blend out your primer. And once you're done applying your primer, you're going to give it a minute or two to go in and sink into your skin. You need to give your primer a little space to do its job before you go into the next product. If you have an oily skin, please, whenever you want to get that matte flawless makeup, you want to first of all go in with a translucent powder, and you can use any translucent powder of your choice. But for me, I love this Rimmel Stay Matte Mattifying Loose Powder. This is just perfect for setting your under eye concealer, especially for oily prone skin. But then I also love to use it as my powder before then I go in with my foundation. And I'm also going to be using one of my favorite blenders, and this one is from Beauty Crush Cosmetics. Like, it's huge, you guys, as you all can see. So it's just perfect to blend out your concealer, apply your powder, apply your foundation. Like, when you're doing this, you don't need to be scared, because we're still going to go ahead and dust off any excess powder. You just want to apply as much powder as you can on your face, especially on those areas where you produce oil the most. With this, I love to leave it on for a minute or two, and then we're going to go ahead and dust it off. Guys, I'm not sure if you can see my skin properly, but as you all can see, like, we applied a lot of powder on my face before we took a minute or two break. But as you all can see, the powder is already sinked into my skin, and you can already see the oil on my skin, like, gradually seeping through the powder. The next thing will be to go ahead and use a powder brush and then try to buff this excess powder into the skin. I swear by this technique, you guys, you can go for a full day without producing even a single oil. This mark from my primer is still there, but don't even worry because we're going to blend it out with our foundation. So the very next thing I always do whenever I'm going for a flawless makeup or an extremely matte makeup is to go ahead and color correct. And like I always tell you guys, I don't use any orange or green or whatever concealer. I always prefer to use a brown concealer, and I'm using my MAC Pro Conceal and Correct palette in the shade dark, and I always love to go in with this dark brown shade right here. And for this I'm using my Beauty Crush 204 dense short blender brush, and I always love to use this and then go ahead and pick up the concealer, and this is going to help hide any dark spots or any blemishes I have on my face. I'm just going to use it and dot on those areas. When it comes to a drugstore mattifying foundation, this E.Y.E.B.R.O.W Pro Matte is my absolute favorite foundation, you guys. Whenever I use this, it leaves my skin really matte. Like, it's completely drying and it's matte. So I'm going to go ahead and use this foundation for today's tutorial. And then to blend it out, I'm going to be using my Beauty Crush Cosmetics 102 round buffer foundation brush. This right here is my favorite foundation brush, you guys. Like, it just gives me a flawless application whenever I use this foundation brush, and this has been my go-to set. It comes in 5 different sets, as you all can see, which has all you need to achieve a flawless full face of makeup. So I'm going to go ahead now and use the tail of the brush and then deposit the foundation all over my skin, and then we're going to go ahead and blend it out. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and start blending it out. And whenever I'm blending out my foundation, I love to push it into my skin. Like, I love to stipple it into my skin and not buff it away, because if you have a problematic skin, you guys, like, you know, you need as much coverage as you can. And with this foundation, when you're blending it out, it has that cream to powder texture to it. Like, you apply it as, of course, as a liquid foundation, but then when you blend it out, it looks as if like it turns into powder form. I can't even explain it, but this is one of the reasons why I love it. I keep running back to this foundation brush, you guys, because it's very dense. Like, it's nicely dense and it just perfectly blends out my foundation without leaving any streaks or, like, you guys, like, it just flawlessly blends out everything. Even though I know this foundation is a completely matte foundation, one thing I always do whenever I'm going for an extremely matte makeup is to go ahead and use kind of a towelette. You can use maybe your paper towel or like a tissue paper, but I just love to get something like this, and then I love to kind of divide it into 2. You need the paper to be as thin and as fine as possible. So once I have it, I love to go ahead and go in and just use it to dab on my skin, and this will help get rid of any single oil, like any oil on the foundation. Although of course we use a completely matte foundation, when you use a luminous or a hydrating foundation, once you go ahead and dab, you will see oil all covered on the paper, but as you all can see, it's clear, no single oil whatsoever. Next, I'm going to apply concealer, and my favorite matte concealer from the drugstore is the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Concealer. Like, you guys, this right here is a totally matte concealer. I just love to apply it like on my under eye, my chin, my forehead, and the bridge of my nose. I go in with my damp makeup sponge to blend it out. I also love to blend my concealer on my eyelid. Once my concealer is all nice and blended, I'm going to go in with a translucent powder, and I'm using my Laura Mercier translucent powder. Or you can also go in with the first powder I used, which is the Rimmel Stay Matte. When you want an extremely matte face, you want to go ahead and bake, you just want to pack the powder on those areas, leave it on for maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, depending on how much time you have, before you then go ahead and swipe it off. I'm not really a fan of baking, but whenever I want an extremely matte face, I always bake. And baking helps absorb whatever oil you have left on your skin. Alright, so while we're baking, I'm going to go ahead and use Anastasia powder bronzer in mahogany to, you know, bronze up my skin. And I'm using Beauty Crush 108 Precision Angled Brush. I'm just going to tap on the bronzer and then go ahead and just use it to bronze up my skin. You have to trust the process, you guys. Like, I know I'm looking so weird right now, but everything is gonna come together by the time we're done with this whole look. I'm gonna go in with this Beauty Crush face powder brush, and I will use it to just set the powder. Like, I'm gradually dusting it off and also at the same time tapping it into my skin. To get rid of any lines from my contour and my highlight, I'm going to go in with a setting powder, and I'm using my L'Oreal True Match Super Blendable Powder. This is my favorite kind of mattifying powder from the drugstore. I love to tap the powder all over my face, like even where I highlighted, the places I contoured. This will just help get rid of any harsh lines. We're just going to quickly go through the eyes, and I'm using my Sigma Warm Neutral Volume 2 eyeshadow palette, and also I'm going to be using my Beauty Crush 5-piece eye brush set. And for my lid, I think I'm going to start with the lid. I'm going to go in with this very nice warm brown neutral shade right here. Using BC2110 Soft Precision Crease Brush, I'm going to go in with this red eyeshadow right here. I'm just going to tap a little bit of the color. I just want a very nice warmth to my crease. This brush set is just perfect for a Christmas or a holiday gift, you guys. They just do an amazing job. Amazing. So next, I'm going to line my waterline with Sleek Twist Up Pencil. I'm just going to go ahead and line my lash line. I'm going to apply mascara. I'm going to go ahead and contour, and I'm using Koki Professional Powder Contour Palette, and I'll pick up this warm shade right here. I just love my contour to be really warm, and I'm still going to go in with this same BC108 Precision Angled Brush. Highlighters just helps to emphasize whatever like texture or whatever you know, problem you have on your skin. So you want to be very careful using a highlight, and I'm going to be using my Sam Marshall Luxurious Highlight Palette right here, and I'll pick up these two shades and just slightly apply it on my cheekbone. Applying blush after my highlights just helps get rid of any harsh lines from the highlight. So I'm going to go in with E.Y.E.B.R.O.W blush palette, and I will pick up this shade right here. I always have people ask why I don't use a setting spray, and you guys, I don't have a single problem with using a setting spray. It's optional. You can use it. If you don't want to use it, it's still okay. But personally, for me, I always feel like since I have an oily skin, like when I give my skin an hour or two, my makeup normally just dissolves and, you know, gets really settled on my skin, and I really don't need a setting spray. But if you like setting sprays, I absolutely love this benign Final Seal makeup setting spray, because it just helps to seal your makeup. It helps get rid of any powdery effect on your skin. This right here is my favorite mattifying setting spray. Please try and get your hands on this powder right here, and it's the Rimmel Stay Matte Long Lasting Press Powder. Whenever I'm done with my makeup, I just love to go ahead and use this powder and just one more time just press it on the areas where I know I would start to produce oil, because it just helps to tie everything together and also helps mattify the skin. So the last thing will be to go ahead and apply lipstick, and I'm using Colourpop Mamacita liquid lipstick. And yeah guys, as you all can see, my skin is completely matte. Like, this is exactly the steps I follow whenever I want to achieve an extremely matte, flawless looking skin. And even when you have an oily skin, an acne prone skin, you can also achieve a very matte, like oil-free makeup. I'm gonna go ahead and apply this new wig I just made. I think last 4 videos or something, I showed you guys how I bleached it from black to this color right here, and with that video it was kind of, I think, 26 inches, but I decided to just cut it and, you know, make it into a very nice short wig. And this hair is from Klaiyi hair, and I have 3 bundles of their Malaysian loose wave in 26 inches, but like I said, I cut it down to probably maybe 14 inches and then go on and put on the wig. So which one do you guys prefer, my natural hair or this hair right here? Because I'm kind of feeling this hair. Yeah, you guys, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'm going to link everything I used in this tutorial in my description box, so if you want to check that out. And please don't forget to give me a huge thumbs up if you did enjoy this video, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And till my next video, I will see you all very, very soon. Bye.
Pour me water, holy water.